Hey guys, this is your fun-loving Roblox idiot Misconnecting, and today I'm highly pleased to introduce a new project of mine, otherwise known as an advanced guide for the fun-loving, not broken and very chill shooter game, otherwise known as Arsenal. This guide partially isn't that type of guide which requires you to follow certain tips that are globally known, or really easy to possess. Examples include switching to your melee for a faster speed rate, because a bunch of people already know this, and changing your settings, because settings, whether it's Roblox settings in general, dots per inch or Arsenal settings, it is your preference and your responsibility to find which settings, like sensitivity or field of view, perfectly fits you. This manual will assist you within maintaining a psychological focus, while helping you with gun knowledge, game sense, and on and on. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and turning on the notification bell to get further updates on the channel. Preferably, it would be even better if you shared this guide with other people who are contemplating about becoming an Arsenal god, or an FPS pro in general. Without further ado, let's get right to the chase. For a long time, and for FPS games in general, predicting and environmental awareness has been one of the most ideal, yet simplest strategies to learn. Matter of fact, you don't need to practice your habitual consciousness within one sitting, because you can play Arsenal and learn as time passes. Best case scenario, you recently spawned in, and the enemy team has spawned on the other side. What do you do? As this applies towards all maps, you need to know about your surroundings and obstructs before charging to kill the enemies, because various opponents can use the objects in the map towards their advantage. In specific terms, they can get on high ground and crap on you, they can get behind it and jiggle PQ, and so on. Knowing your surroundings and obstructs in certain maps, you can unpredictably use routes that enemies do not expect, and you can get the jump or get the higher ground on them. What is also recommended is that you need to move as fast as possible, and to not stand still blatantly, as the enemies will easily get their attention and shoot you. While moving, you also have to take cover, depending on what enemies are perilous and are targeting you. On several occasions, enemies would normally depend on the main routes and spawns. You can tell where are the main routes, judging from your team or the enemy team using the routes multiple times. Because of this, you have to use other objects and routes to your advantage. If needed, you can also do parkour and super jumps, but we will get into that in a bit. Always remember to act unpredictable, look around to be oblivious of your surroundings, be aware of where enemies are, and you can get the jump on them in no time. Now that you are able to manipulate the maps through knowing the spawns and being able to shoot the hell out of your opponents, one extra and fancy way to get towards the spawns and your enemies much more faster is through parkour. With parkour, you can prioritize your tricky routes, which leads your enemies into an extremely detrimental situation, right through appearing to certain spots and routes that they do not expect, usually through parkour. Not a lot of people know much about these tactics, and that it's extremely underrated and one of the most efficient, yet tricky methods that can give you an extremely high advantage. Majority of these endeavors require practice, and that you may fail, especially at first attempt, so I recommend practicing these in your VIP server, or other people's VIP servers, and if you are lucky, you can practice them in the middle of public server combat or right after the match ends. I will now display a variety of clips, dedicated in using these parkour strategies towards your advantage. When it comes to playing FPS games, especially on a continuous, or competitive grind, you may notice some factors that may discourage you, harm you, or mentally drain you, such as raging, comparing yourself to other skilled players, which would bring down your future hopes of becoming an FPS star, or to the point where multiple of these factors could bring you down from the hopes of becoming an FPS pro, which would lead to you quitting. I, myself, have experienced these problems before, and the main solution is to focus on yourself. Various flaws that occur in the game gives you an easy excuse to rage, in which it would build up immediately, and then you would start to develop bad habits. Of course, bad habits is a red flag when you're trying to become a pro in Arsenal. One way to stop these bad habits is to always focus on what triggers your bad habits. For example, there is this godlike pro in the server, and you struggle to beat him, or at least get a kill from him. If this ever happens, then you could easily evade the problem through rejoining different servers, or to adapt and easily try practicing your skill and getting used to the scenario, because it can occur multiple times. However, if it's a problem like you suffering from high quantities of lag, then it's something about your device, your router, your internet speed and so on. Like I said, you shouldn't use these cases as an excuse to rage or to mentally decay in your hopes of becoming an Arsenal god, because getting used to the scenario, learning as you go by or fixing the problems by physically repairing any of the triggers in your household would be a much better way. Within the FPS game of Arsenal, various weapons that are in a gun rotation are always in a match. And because of the diverse kinds of weaponry, they have different stats, and unfamiliar gameplay and knowledge about them have to be recognized, and if you use them wrongly, then it would screw up your aim, thus causing you to die. One way to stop having these problems is to tape fire, because most automatic weapons, and maybe some other guns, can be efficient at a certain range and proper use. What is tap firing, you might ask? Tap firing is basically when you click and shoot, slowly but steadily. This has a sheer difference from spamming, because spamming recklessly lets you waste your magazine with holding your mouse, whilst tap firing makes you click and shoot manually. Tape firing also allows your spread to not be bogus, as your bullets would most likely hit the same target your crosshair is locked into, whilst spamming would make your crosshair shoot all over the place, making it entirely RNG. Let's say that you have an AK-47, you are on the high ground, hustling and having the time of your life chilling whilst dangerous combat is happening below you. However, one adversary manages to get on the roof, thus putting you into a very perilous situation. Plus, he's from a long range, and you have an automatic weapon. A critical thinking move is to tap fire, as said before. If you spam from a long range, chances are, you would likely not be able to hit your target, and then possibly some of their teammates would get the upper hand and shoot you to death. Usually, gun comprehension isn't so hard to learn, because when you play Arsenal on a daily basis, or in general, you would learn as you go by. It isn't necessary to practice with guns, unless you want to become a pro so badly. Because of this, I will not be declaring many examples with the gun rotation. So, I really hope you enjoyed the Arsenal guide I have provided for all of you guys, because I've been working on this for a week, and I feel like this is the best I could do for this channel. Plus, due to me wanting to become a bit more serious with this YouTube channel hobby, I'm willing to make my videos a lot more edited and have a lot more effort put into it. Because of this, I will be uploading a bit more or less. Like I said in the beginning, it would be great if you subscribed and turned on the notification bell, for further notice and for future uploads to roll out for the sake of your education and amusement. Thank you guys for being supporters of this video, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. More videos will come soon. Misconnecting signing off.